Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you kind of movies and TV shows that I enjoyed more than the books. So I think this is a bit of a controversial topic because I think a lot of people are really like the book is like the best thing ever, and I think in some cases, I think when done correctly, adaptation to the film, like either a movie or a TV show, can do a lot of expanding the world and kind of like ironing out the kinks that were in the book. So here are my top 5 favorite kind of adaptations where I found that I enjoyed either the movie or TV show more than the book. So for some of these I enjoyed the book as well, but I kind of prefer the movie over this one. So there'll be a little bit in here. I think most of them, 3 of them are movies and 2 of them are TV shows. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So this is one that I've talked about a bit on my channel before, and it is The Hunger Games. So I want to preface this by saying I did not like the first book. I really loved the second book, and the third book was just okay. And for me, when I look at the movies, I think the film did a really good job of capturing that message and staying true to the original book, but also kind of expanding it. So for me, I didn't really like the first movie. I find the cinematography to be very strange and shaky, so that one is actually like my least favorite. I think Catching Fire is probably one of the best book to movie adaptations that I've ever seen. It stays for the most part very true to the original story. It does expand on some parts and it does leave some parts out, but I feel like I love the second book, and I think the second film is the best out of the whole series. And I know people were very upset with the third one, Mockingjay, being split into part 1 and part 2, and I could see why they did that. I didn't think it was necessary reading the book that was like very short, but I enjoyed the film much better than the concluding novel. And I think part of it was they did expand a lot on the world. They also kind of added more of a role for Effie. In the film, she is still kind of a major character in here, and we get to see her. And then in the book, she only shows up for like a paragraph at the end. So I don't know, like I said, like the book series overall had a lot of highs and lows, but in general I really enjoyed the film series. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the first one, but I think they did a really good job of adapting it and putting it into a film, like a visual thing. And I think like obviously when you're adapting a book you lose some of the things, like some things just don't translate to the screen, but I think they did a really good job at conveying the message and the major plot points and staying true to kind of to the overall feeling of the film. And Jennifer Lawrence is an amazing Katniss, and I'm always captivated by her performance, and I think that's what also adds to it as well, and what makes it probably one of my favorite kind of I think that's what makes it one of my like favorite film like series to watch. Next I have Bones, and so I fell in love with this TV series, I want to say back in 2011, and it was like, it's still my favorite show of all time. Like I was in like a mourning period when it ended last year, but after watching, like marathoning 6 seasons in a row to be caught up with season 7, like I found out that it was also inspired by books by Reichs, so I read them, but I think going into it I was expecting something similar to the TV show, and it was completely different just in terms of the characters and just everything. Basically the only similarity that the TV show and the books have is the main character's name and like her job profession. Everything else is very different, and I still very enjoy those books. A part of me just has to like disassociate the show when I read it, but I still really enjoy the book. But I think the TV show did a much better job of making it, I guess, more universal, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm recovering from the plague, but I think the TV show did a really good job of adding some humor into it and making it accessible to, or making it more enjoyable for kind of a wider array of audiences. In kind of the books, the main character is divorced, has a daughter, and she kind of bounces between Quebec and DC, I want to say, but in the book they kind of spice it up a little bit and they give the characters more dimension. I find I'm much more attached to the TV show characters than the ones that are in the book, and just kind of how different they are. Not saying the book or bad. I would just prefer the TV show, and I think they do a really good job at kind of showcasing the role of women in science, and I think that's why that really drew me to that show, because being an engineer, like I was, you know, aware of kind of the sexism that's there, and kind of seeing women in a powerful position in a science, like a STEM field, is meant a lot to me. So like that show I love, and I still love the book series, but I would choose the TV show like all the time. Like not like 9 times out of 10 I would choose the TV show. Next I have a series of fortunate events, and I'm not talking about the Jim Carrey movie, I'm talking about the TV shows. So this was probably growing up, I didn't read Harry Potter until I was going into high school. So like I didn't grow up with the series, and I think my equivalent of Harry Potter when I was younger was a series of fortunate events, and I loved it. And I don't think now, being like an adult, I find it hard reading books that are written for like middle grade and just kind of going back to that level. And so when the TV show on Netflix came out, I was in love, because I was like, I remember being so excited for the last book. My parents took me to the bookstore to get it, and I finished it in one day. Like that's how excited I was. And I feel like the TV show did a really good job of staying true to the book from what I can remember, from that being a very long time ago. But I just really enjoyed it. They did expand on the like one other storyline that's intermingled in there, and just kind of staying true to the book and just building on it. And I think that's the key to having a good having a good like adaptation, is staying true to the novel but also expanding on it. And I think this TV series does a really good job, and I'm super excited for it to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Next I have The Help, and actually this is probably one of my favorite books, and I still really love the book. Every time I've torn my ACL, I've read this when I've had my surgery and I was recovering. And so I've read it twice because I've torn my ACL twice. So the next time I tear it, hopefully there won't be a third time, but that's when I plan to reread it. But I just love the film, and I think the film does a really good job, again, staying true. I know I was watching the bonus features, and there was a lot of people involved. The author is pretty much very involved with this. Her friend was the director, and she was involved with kind of screenplay. So I think the movie captures the essence, again, of the story and stays true to the major key plot points. And some things are a little different, but again, that's to be expected. But I think the performances in here, especially Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, Emma Stone, they do an amazing job, and you kind of get, like, I always get teary-eyed in the last like scene, and I think like just the emotional impact that the movie had on me, again with the book as well, but with the movie in particular, that's what really sticks to me. And so I think just overall everyone in this film did a truly amazing job in capturing that character and bringing it to life. And I really am a visual person, so when a book adaptation is done well, I tend to like the movie a little bit more. Lastly, I have Me Before You, and so I know this is a bit of a controversial book just in general, but I really enjoyed it. I read it a long time ago, so when the movie came out I was really excited, and there were some aspects of the book that I did feel unnecessary, and just in terms of some of the characters in here, and I think the movie did a really good job at kind of taking out kind of that excess stuff and just kind of confining it into a 2-hour film, and just the chemistry between the characters here as well, and just kind of seeing that bloom over screen. I think that really does a good job. And I think also because I'm like in love with Sam Claflin, so you know, I think that has something to do with it. But I feel like the film did a really good job of just capturing the essence of the film, but also kind of making it its own. And I loved kind of the dynamics between the two characters and the chemistry and just kind of the quirkiness of Lou, and seeing that on screen I really enjoyed. So yeah. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have any kind of movies or TV shows that you prefer over the books. I think this is a really good, interesting discussion topic. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.